over now to a different microphone. Okay. So I think that you guys can hear me now. So thank you so much for tuning in. Today we have a really awesome. I got a question in the group, and someone asked me, "How do you do?" Oh, here we go. So I think that you guys can hear me now. Sorry about that. I had to test it on my trusty cell phone, make sure that the volume was coming through clearly. So I'm glad that we got that figured out. So back to what I was saying, I got a question in the group, and someone asked me, "How do you make royal icing templates?" Now, this is not about. I'm sorry. How do you make royal icing transfers? So to make a royal icing transfer, you need a royal icing template. So I have designed a pumpkin template for you to use to make the royal icing transfers. If you haven't downloaded your template, you can do so here. Here's the link. Just go to that website and just go ahead and click and download the template. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch. Excuse me about that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and switch the camera down to my studio and we can get started creating the royal icing transfers using the template that I've already downloaded. So let's head on over there. Okay, great. So I think that you guys can see now I have the royal icing template already downloaded and print it off. So now all I need to do is just kind of add some tape over the top. This is nothing more than parchment paper. If you have a question as we're going along, then just go ahead and leave me a comment, and as soon as I am able to answer your question, I'll get to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a few pieces of tape down over this parchment paper just to keep it steady. Now, the beauty of, and notice like when I did it, I have it so that I can pull my sheet out and in. Okay, and so that makes it extra easy to do. Now, we're going to do several of the royal icing pumpkin transfers. I'm going to do some with a thicker icing. This is a thicker, I call it a floral consistency, my thickest consistency here. And I have a cover on it so that I can change out a few of the tips. Some of the tips that I have to use are, I have a number 18, a number 16, and let's see, I have a number 14 if I want it to get smaller than that. And we also have, okay, and here we go. My comments just came in. Hi, thank you guys so much for being here. Hi, Susie. Yeah, I think I was having a problem with the volume a little earlier, so I'm so glad that it looks like we got that figured out. Anita, hi, thank you for joining me. Mom, you're on. Hi, and my husband is on too. Yeah, I'm so glad that you guys are here with me today. So here are the tips that we're going to be using. This is for my thicker orange, and I also have a 21. Um, and then I have a thick consistency green, and we're going to be using this for some of the leaves. So let's go ahead and move this banner out of the way. Now, if you guys have a question about anything, just go ahead and feel free to ask. This is a 352 that I'm going to use. I have a 67, and these are all Wilton tips, and this is a 65S. I love using a 65S. You can see it. I'll pull it up a lot closer. It may be a little blurry, but a 65S is really, really great to use with on like your really smaller flowers and things. So I got a question from Christy. Christy is asking, what kind of tape do you use with parchment paper? Um, so the tape that you're supposed to use is, I think like the packing tape is the tape that you're supposed to use with the paper backing. But I'm just using regular tape and I'm mostly sticking it to my board here because it's that's all I had. But it's working, so I'm grateful for that. And to make the pumpkins itself, I have some of the flood consistency orange. Now, if you're interested in this color, this particular color, it is a neon orange. I thought it was very pretty, so I decided to use the neon. And my mom is saying hi, everyone. Hi, Mama. So let's go ahead and cut the chip. Okay. Now, when you are adjust the camera a little bit, my little table is a little tricky here. Yeah, it's walking back and forth. Okay, here we go. So what I'm going to do, because I do want multiple sections of the pumpkin to show, I'm just going to go ahead and decorate this one section and let this part dry. Now in the download, um, once you download it and print it out, you'll see that there are different sizes of pumpkins. One of the things that I am a real advocate about is getting things in different sizes. Because when you use different sizes, it kind of gives you a little bit of a difference, kind of like a variation of things, and it ends up really looking, a lot great, a lot better, of course, if you just kind of use different sizes. So that's one of the things. That's one of the reasons that I like to have different sizes. Of course, you can always stack them as well. You can always put like a larger size in the background, and then you can use a smaller size, like in front of it or something. And I think that will really go well. So you'll see here. That's why I'm working kind of with both sizes. Can I see you? Yes, I can. I sure can, honey. I can. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. All right. So let's go ahead and fill in some more. Now, what I am doing, the way that I am decorating these pumpkins is that I am only decorating right now, I'm only flooding in just the middle. And there's a reason for that, okay? The reason for why I'm only flooding in the middle is that when you flood in multiple sections, especially using a thinner consistency royal icing, it tends to just kind of melt in together. And so I don't want it to do that. I want to have each section be easily identified. Okay. And so if you think about like when you see a pumpkin, like you're not seeing just one big blob of orange, you're seeing the multiple sections of orange. And so thank you so much. Um, I'm kind of coming about my nails, so thank you, thank you, thank you. So yes, when you see a pumpkin in real life, you're not seeing just a single section of the pumpkin, like one big blob of orange. You're seeing multiple sections. And so that makes a big difference as you are decorating. Like you want to include as many um, elements of nature as possible. So what I'm going to do while this section is, I'm going to let this section dry for a little while, or at least crust over. The beauty of using royal icing is that it doesn't need to completely dry, but as long as it at least crusts over, then we're good to move on and do some other creative things with it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to let this section crust over for a minute, and I am going to switch over to my thicker consistency orange. So this is the same shade, just a different consistency. And so with this consistency here, I'm just going to go ahead and add in a tip. And I think we are going to use, here's a 21. Why don't we use our 21? And let's take a look at some of the pumpkins that we can make in different ways, or some of the different ways that we can make pumpkin. Alrighty. Yes, so I love pumpkin pie. That's my favorite. So here we go. I'm just gonna go ahead and stick this inside just to hold it. Now with the bag, I have noticed this is just a regular um, pastry bag or a bakery bag. I do use a variety of bags in my decorating. The bag that I was just using here is a tipless bag. This is the bag that I teach and um, recommend using to for easier cleanup for piping. However, when I am using a coupler with my decorating, I will use a pastry bag. And with this bag here, it's a much thicker bag. I can, I usually twist the end just to, just to give it some more, just to give myself more control and more pressure as I hold it. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, just going to go ahead and build up the middle. So I'm going to touch down and squeeze and pull up. Now this is a thick consistency here. And so what I'm going to do is I got the middle part down. So now I'm going to go ahead and build my pumpkin around it. So I'm going to build on either side and bring these in. And now I have made a pumpkin that is standing up. The beauty of this is that once this dries, I can come back and pipe the leaf on the top of it. And so I'm also going to show you some of the other things that we're doing. So that's how I make a pumpkin that is standing up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a few more. Now I'm going to pull this up and come back around. Don't forget, if you haven't already downloaded the practice piping template, then go ahead and download that template now. So these are, I'm going to make a few more because I can continue going as often, or make as many as I need. So pull these over, pull this over, and that was just air popping out of my bag. Let's see. And one more. Okay, great. So Now that I've made a ton of my little pumpkins, my stand-up pumpkins, I'm going to move this paper aside. And the beauty of this particular tip, I had a question from Anita. This particular tip, Anita, is a size 21. So this is a 21 piping tip, and this is a Wilton tip. Okay, so now I'm going to grab some more of my parchment paper, and I may just use the paper that I already have down here. And let's do some more. Of course, you can make them bigger or smaller. What I'm going to do now is lay them down. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of feel like I'm doing a scallop edge, and my ends instead, I'm just going to fold them over. Okay, so I'm doing this with the same tip number 21. For those of you that, I want to know how many of you are farmer cake decorators. If you are a farmer cake decorator, then this is going to be second nature to you. And so the reason why I named my company Cake Wave is because when I got started actually through cake decorating. Where do you go to download the free template? So I'm gonna go ahead and add the banner up here again. So this is where you go to download the free template. If you can just copy it, then you can pop it in and get that free template. Um, yeah, back to what I was saying. For those of you that are coming from the world of cake decorating, you are going to find this second nature. Um, because as a cake decorator, you're used to using a lot of tips with your work already. And so it makes it a lot easier to be able to just kind of pop on a tip and kind of get a scallop edge or get some of the extra goodies. I just changed my tip size out. So I changed from a Wilton tip 21, which is um, which is one of the largest of the star tips, and I'm changing it out to a Wilton tip 16. And the tips get progressively smaller in sizes in groups of two. So it'll go instead of 21. I don't know why I like 21 anyway. So you can get 14, 16, 18. I don't know that there is a 20, but there's definitely a 21. And that is just your star tips. And this is Wilton. So you'll notice just by changing the tip size and doing the same technique, I got a really, really small pumpkin. And so that is really great if you want to do the same technique over and over again and just make different sizes of pumpkins. I'm going to make a few more of these. And because this is a really thicker consistency icing, it's going to dry like pretty quick. So that's really cool. That's a really good thing about it. Now, before I pull out my green, what I'm going to do is I'm noticing that my icing is starting to crust over a bit. So let's realign my page here. So I'm going to go ahead and move my paper right back over the middle again. And now we can go ahead and my husband is saying I need a 3D printer, but this is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, hubby. I love that. So I'm going to hide this again. And let's see if I can't pop the link. Here is the download link. Okay. So I just added the link to the template in the comments. So you should be able to just click that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and type the remaining edges of my pumpkin. I'm going to show you what this does. And you're going to like be able to see it as well. So what this does is by waiting just those few seconds, you'll see that on the pumpkin that I have here, now I have three distinct sections. Um, so sectioning is widely used in cookie decorating because the nature of your icing is such that your icing is going to melt upon itself. So that's the nature of your icing. And the way to get around that is just to kind of give it time to um, crust over. And so that is the reason that I wait for a little while as I am plating, just to give it some more time to crust over. And that way it will have time to like make its own crust, and then I can come back over and part the other side. And when you look at it, it'll be a distinct section. It'll be its own section. So as you get into more of the advanced decorating techniques, this is where you can kind of begin to pull these techniques on each other. So one of the things that I'm doing, and this is more of a little advanced technique, but at the end, after I pipe, I'm just coming back and kind of pulling those ends so that it will be one complete unit. Because when I do pull it off of the paper, I want it to be one complete, distinct unit in and of itself and have its own distinct areas. But I may want to come back in and add some shading. And so that is where, once it is completely dry, you can come back in and add some of the darker shading in and kind of make it look more as you would see in nature. So I have a few more that I'm going to do, and then we're going to move on to our leaves. Is there anyone that is decorating cookies for the weekend or decorating for any special events? I usually make cookies for each of the birthdays, especially my children. But my husband just had a birthday recently, and I didn't get to make him any cookies. Um, but the funny thing is, even though I make my husband cookies, he would like them, but the kids would eat them all. I'm just going to go ahead and pour this in. And now I have one more area that we're going to do before we move into our leaves. I saw a really cool technique. This was, first of all, is anyone here from Cookieathon? Is anyone here from Cookieathon? I heard about me through Cookieathon. So if you are, then just comment yes. I was um, I was part of Cookieathon and I absolutely loved it. But there were so many different techniques and so many different presenters. One of the presenters had this great idea about making royal icing leaves. Oh, you are Diane. Awesome. So one of the presenters, one of the instructors there, had this wonderful idea about making royal icing leaves. It was great. I absolutely loved it. It was my first time presenting with Cookie-a-thon, and I think I'm going to be back. Okay, so I just changed my tip. I added on a Wilton 67 tip, and I'll show you what um, one of the other presenters did that I thought was just genius. So I have my pumpkins here. My pumpkins are going to take at least about 6 to 8 hours to dry, and I will leave them on the um, paper here, and then they'll dry on their own. Um, and then once they are dry, they'll just literally pop up from the parchment paper. But one of the things that I thought was really, really interesting is that one of the presenters just made a bunch of leaves, and she made them on parchment paper, and she just let them dry. And so what I am doing is I'm gonna make a couple of these leaves on parchment paper just like she did, and let them dry and pop them in my Royal Icing Transfer kit. I have a kit with a ton of flowers and things that I make as transfers from different projects. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that on there. So these are the size leaves that you can make using a Wilton 67. So what I'm going to do now, for those of you that are coming from the cake world and you love using tips, I am going to switch to a 65S. So one of the best tips that I found, particularly for cake decorating, I'm sorry, cookie decorating, is a 65S. So a 65S is basically the same tip as a 67, just on a smaller scale. And so this tip is perfect, perfect for, watch this. You see that? It's perfect for any cookie, any like smaller sizes. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and pop on a little leaf on the end of all of these little pumpkins. So it's basically a smaller scale leaf. And I love this. I love this tip because of that. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more. And so now I have a bunch of pumpkins that I'm just waiting to dry. So I can make some more of the leaves here. And the beauty of these tips, of course, you don't have to use a tip. I do have training where I show you how to cut your bag to mimic using the tips. Um, I'm just going to make a bunch so that I can pop them in my Royal Icing Transfer kit and save them when they're dry. And this is genius because for those of you that don't like to um, mix your colors over and over again as you're, making your designs, it's so much easier to just come in and pop in your kit and grab a leaf. Um, Leaves are things that, especially like if you love doing florals, and I love doing florals, I really do. But if you're coming from, the cake world that just, doing florals and things like that just kind of make or break your cakes, then you are going to love being able to pop on your tip, use the extra icing that you make, and be able to store it and save it. And so that is what this is for, I think. This, when I saw this idea, I thought, oh my gosh, this is genius. I knew that you guys would love it just because you can literally make it and save your leaves for whenever you're ready. And then that way you don't have to come back and remake some more. So that's the beauty of it. If you want to make it, if you want to make bigger ones, you can just let it kind of ruche more and then pull it out. So if you can make smaller or bigger leaves with this particular tip. I just like to make, I just in particular love using this tip, especially for cookies. Alrighty. Okay, so um, before we go, are there any other questions that you guys have about um, decorating or making Royal Icing transfers? Oh, there is something I did want to show you. So once your transfers are made, and the reason why you want to make bigger ones is that you can decorate something like this. So this is a cookie that it's actually of a topiary tree, was the actual cutter, but you can use it with pumpkins also. You can stack the pumpkins, so I thought this would be a really great cookie to use the transfers on, especially like to stack the pumpkins and then put some of these other pumpkins over the top of them, on top after the icing is at least crusted over to get kind of a 3D effect or have more interest in the cookie. So we're going to be decorating this probably a little further in the future, but I just loved and wanted to show you the idea of how you can use your Royal Icing transfers um, and make gorgeous, gorgeous cookies. So I did get a question. Christy said, I missed the link for the free download. Will it be posted in the comments at the end of your live? Um, yes, so I do have, let's see, I shared it here. I can go ahead and copy. Here it is. Okay, so Christy, if you just scroll up in the comments, you can see the link, and it should be a clickable link that you just click the link and it'll take you directly to the download. So try that. And that is in the comments. So if there are no further questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this live. And I wish you all a very blessed weekend. And you're so welcome, Christy. I'll see you back here next week on Friday for another lovely cookie decorating session. Fun Cookie Friday. All right. Thank you guys. Bye bye.